that my feelings are going to be hurt intentionally. My body is going to be hurt intentionally. I am going to be scarred from this experience. And I wonder how many times I can die in this game, because I am very good at it. So, without any further ado, let's jump into Boyfriend to Death. I got so drunk last night, I almost forgot my name. This music is very misleading. I feel like I'm about to play something really light, a little funny. I don't think that's the experience I'm gonna have. What was it again? Oh. Right, my name is Cece. It's really hard to adjust to this college since I had to leave my hometown to come here. I've been pretty lonely. I got up and looked around. I picked up some flyers on the side table. There's some cool looking places to hang out here. Maybe I should go to one of these places tonight. Which one? The Snake Pit, the Braying Mule, or Snapdragon Jazz Lounge? You know what? I think we're just gonna go left to right. Let's just go left to right. I mean, I guess for you it's left to right. Left to right. I don't know. I'm fucking dumb. Anyways, let's start at the Snake Pit. I guess I'll go to the nightclub. I put on a nice outfit, revealing in all the right places, and I went out for the night. After waiting in that line, I walked into the club. The music was pretty loud, but I pushed past the waves of people to the bar. It seemed like I ended up in front of a bartender every night these days. Rum and Coke, please. Ooh, good choice. A bit early for rum, don't you think? I looked over... I looked over to my side and noticed a man stirring his drink next to me. Buzz off, I do what I want. That'll show him, with your fucking tiny ass hips but your giant thighs. Oh, he looks mad. I'm not here to judge you. Oh, sorry, it's just been a rough week. It happens to the best of us. I don't know this guy, but he seemed nice enough. Oh, my name is Cece. It's nice to meet you. My name is... I feel like either way I'm going to pronounce this, I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to go with Sano, and if I'm wrong, please just bear with me. He took my hand and rubbed his thumb across the top of my skin. Ew. I hate that. His hands were cold, but firm, like a dead body. I looked up at him and he looked right into my eyes. The steel gray color piercing right through me. What's wrong? Nothing, I'm just wondering something. Ask. Do you want to dance with me? Can you tell me more about yourself? What are you doing here alone? You know what? The beat is bumping. Let's go dance. Oh, no thanks. I'm not good at it. I'll end up crushing your toes. You don't dance? Aw, it can't be that bad, but I'd rather talk, too. I guess. It's pretty loud in here. I can talk pretty loudly. I smile at him, leaning closer. Sano looked down at his watch and looked at me. It's getting late. I'd better head back. Oh, so soon? Yeah, med class is tomorrow. I mean, we don't want to come off as desperate. He very obviously does not want anything to do with us, so... Sayonara, Sano. Sano slid off his bar stool and walked into the crowd. I watched Sano leave and sighed. I got up to dance by myself and bumped into someone. What's up? Hey, you alright? I didn't even see you there. Oh, I'm fine. I thought you just left? This is obviously a completely different man. He turned his head and looked in the direction that Sano walked in. Oh, you were just talking to Sano, right? My name is Akira. He's my twin brother. He flashed me a cute smile, and I smiled back. He looked just like Sano. I gotta head back to the DJ booth. Maybe we can play together some other time. Oh, with the tongue hanging out. Is he licking his lips at me? He's like, let's play together sometime. Akira smiled at me and rubbed his hand across my chin. Why do they keep touching me? Don't fucking touch me. Ew. That might be fun. It might not be, though. It probably won't be. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's not going to be. I finally left that loud nightclub. You're mine. Just as I heard that familiar voice, something felt like it hit me. It just faded to black. It was dark when I woke up. I shifted my wrists to see if I could move, but something stopped me. It felt like leather and held me down to what I was lying on. Hello? I called into the darkness. Ooh. The light was bright as it flashed in my eyes. I could barely see anything. I saw an arm in the darkness pull the light out of my face and into the rest of the room. This is definitely some medical equipment. Where am I? You're in my medical bay. I like how since he's the smart one, like he's the doctor, he's wearing the glasses. Sometimes dumb people wear glasses too. I watched as the tall man leaned over me. Whatever this is, I am not interested. Sano reeled back and punched me right in the face. Tight. I could feel the blood leaking out of my nose, and he forced my head to the side. The blood poured on the table, and he kept a gloved hand on my skull. Watch your mouth. I said nothing more as Sano pulled a chair close and took a seat. I kept my eyes on him, but said nothing. Sano took a seat near me. So, tell me your medical history. Any genetic disorders you might have? Why? Are we gonna make a baby? Oh God, I hope not. He was acting as if all of this was normal. Please tell me this isn't your idea of dating. Sano looked at me deadpan. Funny. Sano pulled out a knife and plunged it into my shoulder, twisting the blade. I let out a blood-curdling scream as he twisted. He looked like he wasn't even trying, but the force was pinning me to the table. I'm sure you can use your sense of humor to help yourself soon. Sano ripped the knife from my shoulder. I let out another scream as I breathed hard. Panicking? A blue fire surrounded Sano's hand as he burned the wound shut. Oh shit. Please, shut your mouth. Okay, I know I'm burning you right now to cauterize a knife wound I just inflicted on you, but shut the fuck up, man. Man up. I felt the room spinning at the searing pain entering my shoulder. My eyes rolled into the back of my head and I passed out. Sano pulled out a needle and tapped it. I gulped. Wait, I thought we passed out. Oh, did we just pass out and then wake up? Okay. I gulped. I didn't know what was in the needle. What's in the needle? I devised a special type of general anesthesia. What does it do? It causes relaxation of the muscles and temporary paralysis. It also helps enhance memory of the surgery. Oh, that's like the opposite of what anesthesia is supposed to do. What does that mean? Sano grabbed my face and touched it with his gloved hand. My angel, it means. He gripped my face harder and leaned in. You will remember every caress of my knife on your skin. This sounds very much like the crevice water in The Price of Flesh. Is this where they got it? Was the crevice water Sano's invention? I started to tremble under his hand as he pulled slowly away from me. He wanted me to remember what he was doing to me. Sano tapped my arm and pushed up his glasses. Small veins. Have you been drinking enough water? Sano looked over his glasses at me in an accusatory fashion. I'm sorry, I didn't know that I was going to be knocked over the head in a nightclub alleyway and tortured. If I had known, I would have hydrated so much better. I can't drink water when I'm tied up. Sano made a face, then let out a low chuckle. He leaned over me, putting his hand on my forehead. Aren't you the smartest ass here? Maybe the best ass, sure. Maybe I can just inject this right into your eye. No. Please no. I twitched and tried to pull away. No. I don't want that. I could see the liquid leaking out of the tip of the needle. No. What could I do here? Look at something else, I guess. I looked away from the needle and started to breathe fast. I could feel Sano looming over me and getting closer with the needle. Sano aimed the needle at my eye and smirked at me. Please don't do that. Oh God. He pushed the needle into my eye and I screamed. Disgusting. Almost done. I felt like my eye was going to explode out of my skull. I let out another scream and gripped the straps around my arms. Now, that wasn't so bad, was it? Sano patted my face as he went back to his tray. I felt blood dripping out of my eye. I just wanted to pass out, but I felt more alert than ever. Sano watched me as my breath slowed down. How are you feeling? I couldn't say anything. I could just look at him. Can't talk, Sano turned my head towards him and started to cut into my skin. It hurt like any deep cut would, but I couldn't scream. I couldn't even look away. Sano cut into my forearm and opened it up. Ugh. It's not unheard of, Examining live people for scientific purposes? What was he talking about? Was that what he was doing this for? Sano pulled the tendons in my arms out of the skin and looked at them. Can you pull the ones that would make my fingers go like this? Spending too much time on the computer, Cece? You better fucking believe it. Where the fuck else am I gonna be? A sadistic smile graced Sano's lips as he yanked the tendons harder. I stared at Sano, begging him with my eyes to let me go. Sano looked up at me and tilted his head to the side. Had enough? I wanted to nod, but all I could do was stare at him. Sano stood up and put his hand out. An odd blue light and letters I couldn't understand floated around his head. I looked at my wrist and it seemed to fix considerably. Fix? Sano looked over at me and patted my head. Sano bandaged the rest of the wound carefully. I watched him unstrap my legs and I felt a bit of relief. He walked to his desk and took a seat, writing in his notebook casually. He was done with me for now, so I remained motionless. I started to get feeling back in my body and I pulled my legs up. Sano looked up at the movement. That's a good idea. You wouldn't want to get DVT now. Deep vein thrombosis. I think that's the least of my worries. Sano laughed and looked back at his papers. In this situation, I would say that's valid. He spoke to me so casually, it was almost like talking to a friend. But I knew better than that. I'm tired. I did just cut you open. Can't say I'm shocked. He did just cut my arm open. I turned my head to my arm. Can I sleep? I'm not stopping you. I'm just working. He was right. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep. It was hard to sleep. It was getting really warm in this room. Maybe I should try to do something else? I looked up at the corner of the room. Sano was in the corner, lighting something on fire in the furnace. I mean, I feel like if we ask for something to put us to sleep, it might not be super restful. So we're just gonna try to one more time to go to sleep. I huffed and kept my eyes shut. I needed to sleep. Who knew what would happen to me? It was so hot when I woke up. I could barely breathe. Are you awake? I opened my eyes and looked at the man across the room. Sano was looking at me, the blue fire reflecting on his glasses. That looks really fucking familiar. What are you doing? I started to cough and felt weak. I'm turning up the heat. As he spoke, I felt the heat bounce off the walls. It makes sense why we found this little bitch in the desert. I regretted speaking. I watched the haunting blue flames bounce off his hands and into the room. I could see why the walls were concrete now. Are you giving up on me, Cece? Calm down. I was scared, but I didn't want to panic anymore. I bit my lip and tried to calm myself. Sano watched me and got closer, his hands still ablaze. Nothing to say? Sano grabbed my legs and burned my skin. Still nothing? You're quite useless, aren't you? I guess. Sean? Who's Sean? The fuck is that? name's Sean! The fuck? Okay. A large gray monster wandered into the room, and I leaned back in my spot and gasped. I don't have a use for you any longer. Dispose of them. The monster walked over to me and leaned down. I could feel teeth ripping through my flesh as the monster ripped my intestines from me. Good boy, Sean. Alright, I guess I'm gonna try to be nice to him. He obviously does not like the Sass Master, so let's dial it back a little. He smiled at me. I'm not here to judge you. Yeah. Can you tell me more about yourself? Why would you want to know more about me? Well, I'm not that interesting, and you look like you have a story to tell. Not too much to say. I'm going to school to become a doctor. Whoa, you must be pretty smart. Sano shrugged his shoulder. Intelligence is relative. I'm just doing something I like. That sounds pretty awesome. Sano looked down at his watch and looked at me. It's getting late. I better head back. Okay. Adios. It was nice to meet you, sir. Bye. We have a choice now. So if we wait for Akira, does that mean that he's gonna kidnap us? Alright. Whoa, did you wait for me? Yeah. Is that weird? Yes, it is. Akira shook his head and put his arm around me. Nope, I just wasn't sure that you would. I'm off now, so let's go do something fun. I nodded and followed him off into the night. Akira wasted no time once we got to his house. Okay. He touched me roughly. He even has red underpants on. Like, he is fully coordinated. He touched me roughly as he pushed me on the bed. Oh, okay. Stuff is happening. Oh no. Okay. You did not see any of that. But they just, they got it. We got it. We got into it. He got into it. I could feel Akira's arms around me, and I poked him. Where's your bathroom? Akira made a motion. Down the hall. He let me go and buried his head under the blankets. Always go pee after you have sex. You will avoid infection. Go pee. Every time. This has been a public safety announcement from Cece, your friendly neighborhood Cece. I'm sure I could find my own way. I picked up my shirt and slipped on my underwear as I exited his room. I walked into the dark hallway and groped the wall. I couldn't feel a light switch, but I felt a doorknob. The door slowly opened and I was hit with a smell. It smelled like rotting meat. Oh no, you shouldn't have done that. Oh, a hand covered my mouth as someone leaned into me, his eyes almost glowing through the darkness. Guess again. I felt a needle push into the skin on my neck and I fell to the ground. It was dark when I woke up. I'm assuming that was not the bathroom. Yeah. So, again, we're just not going to be sassy pants. Sano sat down on the chair next to me. You want to know what's happening? I'm going to be frank with you. Sano looked at the clipboard and put it in his lap. I'm going to examine you. And you won't survive the process. It took a moment to think about what Sano just said to me. He couldn't be serious. What? I kept my eyes on him but said nothing. Sano took a seat near me. So, tell me your medical history. Any genetic disorders you might have? Sure, let's just answer your question, sir. What else could I do? Sano brushed his fingers through my hair and looked at me. Good. His quiet voice and soft touch would have calmed me down if it weren't for the coldness of his gaze. I don't think any of that would have calmed me down. I would have been just like, stop touching me. Especially since I'm tied up in this weirdo's basement. No, there is no calmness. It was almost inhuman. Well, do I have a surprise for you? I felt a shiver down my spine. Please don't kill me. Sano leaned in and rubbed his gloved thumbs across my face. No promises. Rest. Something flashed in his hand. Was that a syringe? He pushed it into my neck before I could say a word. My vision blurred as my head rolled to the side. You'll need your sleep. I turned my head to the side as I woke up. The grogginess faded pretty quickly. I tried to look around the room and spotted Sano. He was in the corner, calmly looking through a book. I bit my lip. Guess we'll just leave him alone. I turned my head away and took a deep breath. I should just leave him alone. He's trying to kill me anyways. Sano stood up and grabbed my arm. Sano forced it down on the table. Hey, what are you doing? Sano looked over with narrowed eyes and pulled the strap harder. Sano pulled out a needle and tapped it. I gulped. I didn't know what was in the needle. What's in the needle? We sure know what's in there. Crevice water. I've been drinking. Sano nodded and looked down at my arm again. That will do it. I'll find another spot. He moved around my body and ungloved his hand. I felt his cold fingers on my skin as he checked for veins. Sano smiled at me. What is it? You're cold. Your skin is hard, and you're ice cold. I know what you are. Say it. Say it out loud. Sano. I always am. Here. Sano seemed to find a vein as he injected me with the anesthesia. Sano watched me as my breath slowed down. Yeah. You can rub my legs if you want. I know you just ripped open my arm and pulled my tendons out, and then stuffed my tendons back in, sewed me up, but you can rub my legs if you want. I give you permission. Sano looked at me with both eyebrows raised. I don't know what I was thinking, but something in me just blurted it out. Sano stood up without a word and put his hands on my legs. Kick me, and you'll pay for it. I shrunk and nodded my head quickly. Sano rubbed his hands up and down my legs, his cold hands pushing firmly into my muscles. I didn't think asking would have worked like that. I could feel my face getting red. Why are you doing this? Sano looked up at me and touched my skin thoughtfully. I don't want you falling apart, not yet. He caressed his fingers against my skin gently and I shuddered. You're so sensitive. I can't help it. When you're touching me like that. Sano patted my leg and smiled at me. You don't need to be embarrassed about me. I'm not going to force myself on you if that's what you're worried about. I'm tired. Does your brother know about what you're doing? Where's your brother? I feel like bringing his brother up might piss him off. So let's do it. Did you want to talk to him? He's the reason why I'm here. The reason why you're here is because you're nosy. It was an accident. Sure. Fucker. Sano stood up and opened the door. I heard heavier steps enter the room and lean over me. Oh, hey, Cece, that's where you went. You have to let me go, Akira. Pretty sure I'm not in charge here. He was kidding, right? You're joking, right? Oh, you'd know if I was joking. Akira kept the deadpan look on his face as he walked over to me. Now, this situation isn't something to joke about. But what? There's no way out of this, Cece. He doesn't play nice. And who am I to step on my brother's dick, huh? Nighty-night, kitten. Akira walked away from me and turned off the light in the room. He was really going to just leave me here. It was hard to sleep. It was getting really warm in this room. Maybe I should try to do something else? I looked into the corner of the room. He's lighting something on fire. It's really hot in here. So hot. I watched Sano walk over to me. Too warm? I nodded my head. I was just cold, so I was making it warmer. Oh, sorry to bother you. It's not a bother. I need to make sure you're doing all right after all. Oh, hey, I thought you were in med school. Is this a part of that, learning? Yes, it is absolutely in the curriculum to kidnap somebody, tie them down to a table against their will, and cut them open just to look at their inside parts. Sano looked at me and shook his head. No, I got my PhD a long time ago. You're very curious about me. Oh, sorry. It's fine. I don't mind answering questions. You should sleep. It's getting late. Good night, Cece. Good night. I closed my eyes, hoping I could sleep this time. I felt something cool touch my forehead. It was just a wet towel, but in the heat, it felt nice. I drifted off to sleep. It was so hot when I woke up. Oh, he's on fire now. What's up, homie? I'm turning up the heat. Again, I don't think he likes the sassy pants, and we were just like super calm and didn't do anything, and he got mad and fed us to Sean. So we're gonna be meek. We're like, oh no, you got fire, and I'm just so vulnerable over here, and then see if that will work. Probably will, because he's a dude. I couldn't stand heat. It felt like an oven. Stop! Stop! Sano looked over, narrowing his eyes. Is that all you can handle? I wasn't sure how to answer. All I could do was panic. My breathing started to get more rapid as the room started to swim. You're quite useless, aren't you? Oh no! Don't feed me to Sean! No! No! What? No. Okay, no. No. Fucking no. No. I'm not being fed to goddamn Sean. No. Maybe we calm down? We're gonna keep being calm. I didn't want to cry. He didn't look like he was in the mood to hear it. But last time, I calmed down and he fed me to Sean. Sano looked at me and pulled his hands away from my legs. I closed my eyes and laid back. I felt the room closing in. I could feel myself passing out again. I opened my eyes and looked around. It had cooled down from the hellfire earlier. Sano must have opened the door for a while I was passed out. I could see Sano in the corner looking at some melted things on his desk. What are you testing? What are you doing over there? Sano looked up from his desk and tilted his head to the side. Just your endurance as a human. You'd be surprised about how much people can take. Why do the hearts keep changing color? Like, I was thinking maybe, like, green is they like me, and then lesser, like, yellow and orange is like they don't. I just haven't been paying enough attention to know. Are you having a hard time breathing? I'm okay. Just ask if you need something. I spaced out for a few minutes looking at the ceiling. It was quiet. I narrowed my eyes and turned my head to Sano. He was sitting, but his head was down on his desk. Was he sleeping? We're just gonna murder this bitch. And by that I mean we're gonna be killed pretty quick. I looked at the straps around my wrists and tugged at them. I grimaced as I yanked them out of the straps. It was a bit painful to just yank my arms out, but now I was free. I smiled to myself and looked around. This guy was keeping me here. I couldn't keep him alive. I clenched my teeth and grabbed the knife off the table. I reeled back, hard, but something stopped me. Thin, sharp wires around my neck. Uh-oh. I could feel my body being dragged away from Sano and a harsh kick to the back of my knees. Is this Sean? Oh. Hey, Akira. You shouldn't have done that, motherfucker. I could feel Akira kick me around, so I was looking up at him. Akira's boot pushed into my sternum and he leaned down as I wheezed loudly. The wires were cutting into my neck and I was having a hard time breathing. That wheezing is kinda cute. Reminds me of my baby. What? Akira smirked and pushed his boot into my sternum deeper, cracking the bone. This would be less fun than what I'd do with him. Akira ripped the wires upwards and the wires went taut. I felt the blood fill my windpipe and lungs. Decapitated? Nice. Okay, so I guess we're not gonna kill him. I mean, it went exactly the way I thought it would, but let's try to escape. Let's get out of here. I mean, I guess Akira's gonna catch us, but I crept over to the door and put my ear on it. I couldn't hear anything, so I touched the doorknob and opened it. Good morning. What are you doing up? Akira had a gun aimed at me and he didn't look like he was in the mood for a game. I'm trying to escape? Akira let out a sigh and moved his gun, motioning at the table. I walked back to the table and sat on the edge. Akira wandered over to the table and looked at me with a stern look on his face. Don't run. It's not the best plan. You don't want Sano hunting you. I don't want to die. You shouldn't have snooped around this house. Akira ran his hand through his hair and sighed loudly. I didn't mean to. I was just looking for the bathroom, okay? Well, I guess looking for the shitter landed you right there. I'm not allowed to use the bathroom. How dare I have the audacity to try to go to the toilet? You're his now. Oh. Akira pushed off the table. Wait! Akira turned on his heel to me. What's up? Nothing. Akira walked back to me and put a heavy hand on my head. Maybe he'll let you go. I've seen it happen before. Try not to be a shit to him. Was that all I could hope for in this situation? Okay. Akira looked at the restraints. I forgot. I gotta put these back on you. Sano might be pissed if he saw them off. I nodded. I didn't want to be strapped down, but I trusted Akira's judgment. Akira leaned over me and strapped down my arms. That okay? I nodded a bit as he tugged my arm to make sure it was on. Stay put, okay? I nodded, and he put his hand on my face. Thank you. Akira turned away again and walked off. The door slammed with a heavy clank, and I laid back down. Damn, Sano's a heavy-ass sleeper, dude. It felt like a few hours of dead silence as Sano moved around the room. He didn't even turn on the light. Maybe he was just accustomed to working in the dark. I could hear him pull something metal out of one of his drawers. Sano approached and looked at me. He seemed to be studying my facial features. Tell me something, Cece. I could hear Sano speaking through the darkness, and I swallowed hard. Do you know what a prefrontal lobotomy is? Oh, no. Fuck. I took a hard gulp and opened my mouth to speak, but he stopped me. Basically, you take something like this. Sano picked up an ice pick-looking tool and waved it. I saw it glinting in the darkness. And through the eye, I can separate the prefrontal cortex from the other portions of your brain. Why was he telling me this? Because he's gonna do it to me. Sano dragged the tip of the ice pick up my leg, and I shuddered. The cold, sharp tip scraped against my skin. It was a very common practice, especially in the late 19th century, since depression and anxiety were considered mental disorders back then. Sano looked at me over his glasses, narrowing his eyes with a grin. So, have you been feeling some anxiety? Maybe you've been depressed? Okay, I feel like if I lean into this, he's gonna give me a lobotomy. I don't want that. What are you talking about? Sano leaned in and flicked my nose. I'm talking about... He aimed the ice pick at my eye. Trying out this barbaric form of neurosurgery on you. He smirked and tilted his head to the side. Sano pushed the tip of the ice pick into my cheek, digging deep. I let out a gasp as I felt a drop of blood dripping down my cheek. I want to take care of you, after all. I am a doctor. The non-dickhead options will lead to me being lobotomized. I don't want to be lobotomized. I know. Shocker. Not about that life. course I feel anxious. Sano took a seat, looking at me. Why don't you tell me more about it? What? I was worried that if I didn't choose my words carefully, he'd hurt me. Well, you shoved a pick in my face. I've been pretty lonely. Seems pretty normal of someone your age to be lonely. Lost connections with people you may have known. School or work taking your time. Is it necessary for you to have friends? Well, I'd like to have friends. Is that why you go to bars and nightclubs to find people to talk to? Or are you just using seeking friends to cover the rampant alcoholism you possess? ¿Por qué no los dos? At least you're being honest with me. Sano tapped the tip of the ice pick on my leg and smirked. I cringed in pain as a bubble of blood appeared where he was poking. Well, because you are so cooperative, I won't be scrambling your brains. Yes, avoided the ice pick. Good job. I woke up the next day and looked around. I was alone for once, and I smiled. How stupid could they be? I twisted my arm and forced it out of the restraint. I undid the other restraints and sat up. I slid out of my spot on the table and looked around. Sano had to leave something out. There was no way he could have cleaned up everything, right? I tiptoed on the cold floor and looked at Sano's desk. My ticket out stared at me in the face as I picked it up. A large knife. I scowled and picked it up. I laid back down and slipped it underneath my hips. Maybe he wouldn't notice. I didn't want to miss my opportunity, and I kept my hand around the knife. I heard the door open, and I pretended to be asleep again. I could hear the tapping of shoes on the floor as he crossed the floor. Sano got close to me, and I kept my hand around my knife. Got you now. I turned my hips fast and took a few wild swings into the darkness. This is Akira, isn't it? I felt the knife hitting skin, and I heard a grunt. Die, you asshole! I felt a cold hand wrap around my wrist and twist it. He pulled the knife from my hand and shoved me down onto the table. It felt stronger than Sano's hand. Guess again, fuckface. Akira pulled his arm back and punched me in the face, hard. I felt like I was seeing stars as I looked around. Akira snarled loudly as he rammed me back on the table, twisting sharp wire around my neck. He snapped it so tight I could feel the blood running down the wire in my neck. You got me pretty good, bitch. I wasn't expecting that fucking knife. You're pretty quick for someone who's supposed to be getting tortured. Looks like I need to tie you down more. I thought he was going to rip my head off with it, but he just tied me down to the table. I was checking in on you. You know, making sure you were okay. Akira put his hand across his wound for a moment and licked the blood. I'm going to guess that you didn't intend to hit me with that. I tried to talk, but it just came out in sputtering coughs as the wire dug into my throat. Don't bother talking. I heard the door open and Akira jerked his head over to it. Akira, what's... You're bleeding. Get out of here, Sano! This little shit is mine! Sano put his hands up and backed out of the room, leaving me with Akira. Akira pulled out a cigarette and took a deep breath of it. Normally, I don't give a shit about any of this torture crap. Akira walked over, breathing the smoke in my face. But you're making me care about it. He reached into Sano's drawers and looked at a device. You've got a big mouth. Why don't we keep it open, huh? Wouldn't you like that? No. Akira walked over and aimed it at my face. I looked at it and clamped my mouth shut. I wasn't going to open my mouth for him. Now you want to shut your mouth? Fuck me. Akira took the cigarette out from his lips and pushed it against my thigh. Like, we haven't talked. We literally were just like, die, bitch, and then dead silence. This wasn't as painful as Sano's burn, so I kept my mouth closed. Aw, sweetie, was that not enough for you? Akira turned away and slipped something over his knuckles. He climbed over me and cracked his neck from side to side. Not gonna cooperate, huh? I could feel his heavy fist collide with my face, cracking my teeth. The blood started to fill into my throat as he pulled his arm back and cracked the bridge of my nose. Blood spilled out of my nose as he reeled back. Open your mouth or I'll break your jaw. I opened my mouth slowly and he jammed the tool into my mouth. Good job. Akira wiped his forehead with the back of his hand and looked at me, tilting his head to the side. I'm going to share a secret with you, Cece. Akira grabbed pliers out of the drawer and smirked at me. I think you could stand to lose a few teeth. He grinned at me as he stuck the cold metal into my mouth. I tried to let out a sound, but he grabbed onto a tooth, cracking it under the metal, and yanked it quickly out of my mouth. Akira held it up to my face as my mouth started to fill with blood. I'm not usually one for torture. Akira pushed the pliers into my mouth again as he yanked a molar out of my head. But it doesn't mean I don't know how to do it. I could feel the nerves severing and the veins going out of my tooth. My eyes started to leak as I coughed blood. Calm down, it's just 2 teeth. It's only 2 teeth. I could hear a vacuum turn on as he jammed it into the side of my mouth. Just doing a little bit of spring cleaning. I still have 30 more to go. Akira smiled, his fangs baring wide as he went into my mouth for another tooth. He sat down on top of my chest as he yanked them slowly out of my mouth. Twisting them out slowly, I could hear my heart beating in my ears. I felt Akira pushing down on the handle of the pliers and smashing them into shards. I couldn't beg him to stop with my mouth full. I could just watch as he destroyed my mouth. Akira let out a breath and rubbed himself on me. Ew. I can't handle myself. He ripped the gag. Uh-oh. I guess I won't have to worry about you biting me. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. Uh-oh. He's gonna shoot me in the face after he's doing really awful things. You can die now. Thanks. We're gonna lie. I was just going to go find you. Your brother was sleeping in here with me. Akira snorted derisively and aimed down at my kneecap. Don't bullshit a bullshitter. I felt the bullet shatter my kneecap and I fell on the cold ground. I could hear a scream escape my mouth as I put my hands over the wound. Akira tangled his fingers in my hair and dragged me roughly across the floor. Look, if you keep fucking around, I'll have to drag you like a bag of potatoes. Akira picked me up like I was a rag doll and slammed me back onto the table. Why are you doing this? Because you can't just run around my house, bud. Don't run around, huh? Akira dug his finger into my gunshot wound and flicked the bullet. I let out a scream and he tilted his head. Not that you can run away. Akira walked out of the room, wiping my blood on his shirt. Hey, I mean, we lived through that, so... I know a bit about prefrontal lobotomies. You don't lie to me, do you? Why should I? I don't want to lie to you. That's really sweet of you. You're welcome. I reached out. I wanted to touch him again. Why? Sano stepped back and put his hand over his mouth. I could feel myself slipping off the table and smacking against the ground. Are you all right? I put my hands on the ground and slid my knees underneath me. I'm okay. Well, I did get shot in the knee, so... I arched my back in an attempt to help myself up, but I felt a pair of hands against my butt. Ooh! Look at him grab acid. Sano was leaning over me as he rubbed the muscle. Why are you rubbing my butt? What are you doing? Just get yourself back on the table? Sano let me go and walked back to his desk. Sano was looking away from me. His face was bright red and he looked nervous. I looked at the cuffs on my feet and tilted my head. I ignored the cuffs around my ankles and crawled my way over to Sano. I didn't want him to be alone. Of course not. He only tortured me a little bit. He's so cute. I did what with his what now? What? Yeah, what am I doing? What am I doing? I can help you. You've been helping me so much. Helping me how? I have been shot. My arm has been cut open. He threatened to lobotomize me. I'm your kidnapper. Yeah. I bit down on the zipper. Oh my God. And you rubbed my legs and helped me with the heat. Aw. You didn't have to do that. What the fuck? No! No! Oh, I hated that. I hated all of it. No! I woke up the next morning and looked around. Sano was sitting in the corner playing with some pieces of wood. Good morning, Sano. Are we still tied down? Sano looked up from the wood and got out of his chair. How are you feeling? I'm okay, just a bit sore. Your legs again? Just everywhere. I rubbed my legs and sighed. I know a way to fix this. What do you mean? Sano stood over my spot and rubbed his hands against my legs. He had a look on his face. You're so weak, so fragile. I don't want you breaking on me. What did he mean by that? Can I tell you something? Anything. Please tell me. I love dolls. I don't like the direction this is going. Everything about them. So perfect, you can do what you want to them. They don't fight back. I don't feel like my character would fight back anyways. I'm a little cuckoo banana pants right now. You're so beautiful, you remind me of a doll. I blushed, but wondered what he was talking about. Sano brought over the pieces of wood he was talking about and looked at them. Wooden prosthetic limbs. I can fix you. I can help. With a cleaver. He's blushing. He's blushing as he's holding up this goddamn cleaver to cut my limbs off. Do you want me to help you? No. No, thanks. No. Sano's face dropped and he stared at me. Isn't there some other way? I just don't want that. No. There is no other way. I feel like there's a lot of other ways that we are overlooking right now. Sano, no. Too weak. I got off the table and attempted to run, but he was too fast. It felt like just a moment before he was right in my face. Sano, stop. No. I felt the blade cut into my chest as he slammed the knife into my sternum. I coughed up blood as he smashed me again. My sternum was breaking and I could see my blood fly in his face. Look at how weak you are. I coughed again as I stared up at him. My vision was starting to fade and I could feel blood running down my sides. I broke another one. So I guess we'll just be a doll this time. Yep, fix me. I watched Sano pull out some tubes and tie them around my arms and above my knees. Sano whispered something under his breath. It sounded like that language from before. This is going to hurt, but only for a minute, okay? I nodded as he strapped my arms and legs down. I'd better be soon. Sano went to my side and brought the knife down on my leg. It was so painful. I felt like I couldn't see. I let out a scream and Sano continued to cut through. It'll be over soon. Couldn't even knock my ass out. I let out a sniffle as I felt my legs sever. Cut my leg off and I'm just like, oh. My eyes rolled back as Sano looked over. Stay awake. I couldn't. I didn't know if I could stay awake. I nodded as he cut through the other leg. My blood was going everywhere. I gasped for air, anything that would keep me awake through the blinding pain. I felt my other leg fall to the ground and Sano walked over to me, leaning over. He kissed me and nuzzled me gently. Almost done. I could feel the knife cutting through my arm as I passed out from blood loss. Sano. Oh, he killed me! That little bitch. I can make a doll of you yet. Ah, fuck. I thought that was it. Okay. We're gonna survive this, bitch. Okay. Maybe go check on him? I feel like because we got shot in the leg, our health wasn't high enough to survive the procedure or whatever, so. I looked at the straps around my wrists and tugged at them. I grimaced as I yanked them out of the straps. It was a bit painful to just yank my arms out like that, but now I was free. I smiled to myself and looked around. I walked over to him looking at his sleeping form. Maybe he was tired from using his magic. I'm just gonna... boop! I reached out and touched his hair. It was so soft. What are you doing? Sano's eyes searched my face, but he didn't look like he was going to attack me. I just wanted to check on you. Sano moved his chair around and pulled me on his lap. Sano leaned his head on my chest and kept his eye closed. Does it bother you? Sano's arms snaked around my waist and he squeezed me. What? Being held by your captor. I mean, it fucking should. But I'm guessing I'm gonna go with no. I quickly shook my head as he held my wrist gingerly. Wow, what a surprise. Sano pressed his lips against the area around my wound and I gasped. It still hurt, but I felt my face get redder. Sano's eyes shifted up to me and I tilted my head to the side. What's wrong? Nothing. He stood up and picked me up in his arms. What are you doing out of bed? Sano gave a small smile and put me back on the exam table. Stay there. Sano didn't bother restraining me again, but I did as I was told and stayed on the examination table. So maybe we'll survive the procedure this time? Oh, I think we did. I woke up with Sano right next to me. The pain I felt before was gone and I smiled at him. Is that just someone's head? My new wooden parts didn't feel any pain. Sano rubbed his face in my new hand and smiled at me. You're perfect now. My perfect little doll. We did it. So I went to go check on Sano, but this time I just left him alone. I didn't wake him up. Trying to get out the door. Door's locked. As I turned on my foot, I felt my head hit the floor with a loud bang. Trying to get free, huh? No, wait. For what? Sano reeled his hand back and smashed my head against the wall again. Let's go ahead and get ourselves lobotomized. Well, you shoved a pick in my face. He put his hand over his eyes and laughed darkly. How unsightly. He looked to the side and thought to himself, you won't make a good doll like this. Sano stood up and picked up his ice pick. I'll get rid of this repulsive behavior. What are you talking about? I'm gonna make you better. I clamored to get away, but Sano quickly strapped me down. Sano strapped my head to the table and the ice pick loomed over my eye. I shut my eyes hard and Sano let out a sigh. This is the type of behavior I was hoping to remove. Sano forced my eye open. I couldn't pull away as he pushed the pick above my eye. It goes like under your lid right there and then through to the brain. I felt something break in my head as he pushed past the skull. I let out a loud scream as he started to dig around in my head. It was hard to think straight as he dug. I could feel the tip of the pick pull out of my skull and I looked up at him. That's better. He slid his hand on my face. So quiet. Don't worry, I'm almost done. Sano lifted up my other eyelid and pushed the pick into my head. I didn't feel anything. You died. You were lobotomized. Yay! All of my exes were crazy. I'm sure